Hey everyone, you are listening to Life in Full Send, Athletes Reimagined, the podcast where we uncover the question, what comes after sports? I'm your host, Liz Hall. I'm an integration specialist, and I am so excited for today's guest. Collin Balester joins us. He's a former MLB pitcher who got drafted by Montreal, played 4 seasons with the Washington Nationals, played at my beloved Detroit Tigers as a relief pitcher, actually, for one of my very favorite pitchers, Justin Verlander, and played with the Cincinnati Reds. Today, we talk about how Collin admits he put all of his eggs in one basket to chase the dream of professional baseball. I'm so excited. Let's get into it.
Such a high divorce rate as is, but there's such a high divorce rate within the first 2 years of athletes retiring. And I think a big part of that is that routine, or you never really got to know all parts of them. And now they're home all the time. And you're like,
I don't really like that.
messy.
Where's the wait? What? Yeah. And then people always just be like, "Oh no, the paycheck was gone." And no, I don't think it's that. And that's but for me, though, well, yeah, I mean, that's part of everything. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone's like, no, I never even thought about that. Well, BS. I don't think that's number one for everybody. At the end of the day,
I think for some.
I'm the best house roommate you could ever have. I'll clean up after myself. I'll vacuum. I'll mop. I'll put the dishes away. I'll do all the stuff. I'll keep a clean house.
Right before we jumped on here, you're like, oh, I was vacuuming.
I am and that's the hard thing too. Like sometimes I'm like, well, geez, look at this. It's like you're always still trying to show, I threw a good bullpen, so like I should be in the big leagues. I pitched 3 good games. Why am I not in the big leagues? I did this. Why am I not in the big leagues? That's kind of like your whole MO in your baseball career. And then it's like, okay, I mopped the floor and did the dishes. Like, why are you mad at me? I was nice to the kids for a couple hours. Why are you saying this, or whatever the case may be? And that's kind of like how you just everything is based on a performance, and like that is always gets you in trouble.
Well, or you're looking for validation, right? There's seeking validation of noticing, like
because secretly that's kind of how we built our whole entire career is you did well, hey, you got a pat on the butt. I mean, that's a cliche if you watch any baseball movie, but like it was like nice to know, not that you wanted it and it just happened, you know what I mean? Same thing when like things went bad, and it's just like you always had this constant thing, and you can't expect that in a marriage, obviously. And it's sometimes it's something when you talk about it out loud, it makes you feel like, dang, okay, like I say these things but I react a different way. It's kind of hones it back in and be like, all right, well, maybe you need to kind of do a little practice to fix those little problems, because at the end of the day, like no one's perfect. We're all just trying to coexist together.
Okay, I want to give you mad props for that, because there was something that I read where you were struggling in some area, and that could have brought you down before you were drafted. That could have taken you out. It was in high school, you were struggling in your last year or something, and somebody giving you that feedback, a lot of people would have given up based off what somebody else said, and you did not, obviously. So
it was all this hype, and like I said, I like to be in the limelight, but only the limelight that I can produce, that I know I'm in charge of. When it's like, oh, here's one of the best high school pitchers in the area, all that stuff, I'm not really into that, because then it's like I'm living up to somebody else's hype. I don't want to live up to someone else's hype. Not that I don't believe that I'm one of the best ones, but I'm never going to put myself in a situation where I am the life of this. If I'm the life of the party, I know I'm in control. Like if I'm the life of someone else's, expectations, I don't necessarily love that, because now it's like I'm not living up to like what I know I can do, or I don't set my goals at that level. So like that's what happened is I was supposed to be, top this, top that, and all that stuff, and I was trying to exceed their expectations, and I just could never get to that level. And I struggled. And I remember scouts everywhere, and I could see them leaving one by one by one by one. And it's just like, dang. And it's like I put too much pressure on myself for no reason at all. And that kind of was like, that was the start of the season. And I kind of bounced back, which is good. But, I It's like I'm just dumb enough to not worry about what other people say, but I'm not saying I'm dumb, but it's just like that's what has helped me in life, where I'm just like,
Absolutely.
I'm just not, I don't really buy into what people say. I don't care what people say about me. So I've always been in a situation where it's a locker room situation, mostly all dudes. And that's just kind of what it's always been. And nothing against women. I just have never played with any women. So like at the end of the day, it's always been dudes, but we're always like razzing each other. Always, 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 always. And you always have a couple guys that were like, they'll razz you and you give them a little bit back and they're whining and crying. It's like, well, if you're going to give it to me, I'm going to give it back. Like I don't identify myself as like I played baseball, I played major leagues. Here is my stats and whatever. That's never been my thing. Sometimes I'll go through a whole conversation and never bring it up because I don't want people to think that that's why I do anything. It comes up in a lot of things. I do sales now and people love it, especially around here. People are Tigers fans, and I'll bring it up here and there. It's not to get the sale, but it's also to like say, hey, listen, people think that's cool. Doesn't make me any cooler than who I am. Like
It's a connection.
Yeah, sure. I think I'm cool. I'm not bragging. I'm just saying, I just try to be cool and nice to people no matter what. It's not because I play baseball and I'm trying to tell you, hey, listen, you should think I'm cool. I'll show you why I think I'm cool, because I just want to be nice to everyone and care for people. That's why I want them to like me, not because I played baseball, because that's such a nothing. There's nothing there. It's just so thin, and that just should be like an added little sprinkle. And a cupcake's good with frosting, but if you put little sprinkles on it, it just looks a little cooler.
I traveled. I sold everything in South Florida and traveled, and I lived in Colorado, Denver area for a few months. And at no point did anybody ask me what I did for a living. And I always thought that was so awesome. And I think I have this soft spot in my heart for Colorado because of that. But just like you said, it's thin. I'm curious if, because you didn't identify as the baseball player, if that supported you not getting into the depression and feeling lost, right? Because had you had that identity and then that identity is gone, that's where the lostness comes in, right? So
Yeah. I never thought of myself as only a baseball player. I've always been a quirky, crazy, wild, loudmouth, entertaining son of a gun. I was just like the class clown entertainer guy, and like that's who I was. That's who I was. I mean, yeah. Was I sad and upset about how it ended or whatever? Sure. Yes, there was a little bit of a path. It's like I kind of went off the path a little bit, but I'm still I could see the path, but I just am off it. I didn't go like into the woods and like, wow, I'm lost. I'm looking for the North Star.
I don't think I've laughed harder in any podcast recording. Collin, thank you so much for being part of this. Next week, we have a guest I connect with who turned his pain of losing sports into his purpose today to help athletes. Don't miss it. Until next time, please remember, a chapter ends, but your story does not. Keep living life in full send.